Hi, I'm Tim Robinson, Editor-in-Chief of Aerospace, and with me is Deputy Editor Steve Bridgewater.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to Aerospace NOTAM for a new year. Another edition of our podcast looking at global aviation, aerospace, space news, and what we have in the next issue of Aerospace, January 2026. How did another year come around so fast, Steve?
It's incredible, isn't it? We're always 1 month ahead because obviously we work on the January issue in December. But it's been a very quick year with lots happening actually in the aviation, aerospace, and space world, isn't it? Been a busy year.
It certainly has. So in the magazine, we cover everything from GA to spaceflight airliners to airports, from air law to eVTOLs. We've got a lot to get through. But first, a message from our sponsors for this episode. This episode of the Royal Aeronautical Society podcast is proudly supported by Xometry, the AI-driven global manufacturing marketplace. From CNC machining and 3D printing to sheet metal and injection molding, Xometry helps aerospace professionals like you turn designs into precision parts quickly and at scale. To learn more and get an instant quote, visit www.xometry.uk. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Where have we been in the past month? Shall I kick off?
Yeah, you go first. You've been around a bit more than me this month.
I've been around and about, here, there, and everywhere. I was in Canary Wharf the other week for a star-studded launch of an eVTOL. So this was Vertical Aerospace's Valo, which builds on the testing what they're doing with the VX4. It's a 4 to 6 passenger eVTOL. Really exciting, really sleek looking, by the way. Absolutely packed night there in Canary Wharf, and it really looks really good. Interesting thing about it is they've done some redesign work, so they've now got spats on it instead of a tail wheel instead of a tricycle undercarriage. But one of the most interesting things is they've got a huge cargo compartment for it, so it could take six big luggage bags, suitcases, and 6 carry-on bags, which is what you need for point-to-point travel.
That's been the issue with a lot of these vehicles all along, hasn't it?
Really exciting launch. They've also the wing has been adjusted. They've moved the nacelle slightly forward a bit as well. So if a blade comes off, really sleek looking machine. And they're going to have 7 prototypes to sort of like as this thing heads for certification in 2028. The other news there from the Vertical Aerospace launch was they're talking about they're going to be launching the UK's first eVTOL air taxi network in conjunction with Bristow and also Skyports. So that'll be connecting Canary Wharf, Heathrow, Gatwick, Oxford, and Cambridge.
Wow.
So that's early 2029 apparently.
So this is significantly different to the VX4, isn't it? Which they've flown already.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the VX4. That was with a prototype. As we speak, they are hoping to do the transition before the end of the year. We're obviously running out of time a little bit, but it's dependent on everything being set and also good weather. So the transition flight is imminent, and may have even happened by the time this goes out. So, but the VX4 was always a demonstrated technology prototype. The thing that was unveiled in Canary Wharf, that is the commercial. That's going to be the production version going forward.
Excellent. Brilliant.
What about you, Steve?
I went down to Basingstoke earlier in December to a supper event that was organised by Carol Bent, who is married to David Bent, the well-known aviation artist. This is the 12th event that Carol's done, and she calls them STEM to STEAM suppers. And these are events aimed at raising awareness of the fact that the arts is equally as important as science, technology, engineering, and maths. Star-studded audience there. We've got the likes of Professor Ian Gray and lots of people making interesting anecdotes and speeches and adding to the conversation about why it's so important that we include the arts in the standard STEM teaching that we do. And a lot of people point out that a lot of the best engineers that we've ever had have also come from an art background. I mean, think Leonardo da Vinci, one of the most innovative designers of all time, perhaps equally as well known for his art. So it was a really nice time. So 12th one that Carol's done, and so it's not a fundraiser. It's actually an awareness raiser to try to highlight this fact and ultimately to bring it into school curriculum.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah. Well, if it looks right, it flies right, doesn't it?
Indeed, yeah, exactly. What about you?
So,
Anywhere
what
else you've
else?
been?
Well, I've been at the society. I've been as well. So I've been at RSHQ. We had the Wilbur and Orville Wright lecture the other week. That was absolute tour de force by Pratt Whitney's or RTX's chief engineer,
Doc
Michael
Winter.
Doc Winter. Absolute. Fantastic sort of explanation of firstly, the Pratt Whitney's history, how a jet engine works, and some of the exciting stuff they've got on the on the horizon. Like using sort of steam power in
Yeah,
steam into a jet engine to make it super efficient, and also there was the pulse detonation engine, rotating
yeah.
pulse detonation engine, how that works as well, which fantastic explanation.
Yeah. No, I
Absolutely.
was I was I was gutted I couldn't make that. I interviewed Doc Winter for an article earlier this year, and I knew then that he would be great to listen to. He has such a way of explaining complicated concepts in a way that the layman can understand. Yeah, sort of person you could imagine being on the Christmas lectures.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of thing. It's really, really engaging speaker. So no, I'm glad you managed to go to that. I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
Well, he got some searching questions from the audience as well. I mean,
Okay.
our audience is obviously they're professional, they're highly they're learned, and they have some experts as well. So he got some. They didn't let him all his stuff go kind of unquestioned, and they probe him a little bit. So that was great.
Good.
Um,
Good.
the other thing also we had at the society was the RES Charities Summit. So that was convened by our chief executive, Dave Edwards. That had about 140. This is just charities in the UK. Over 140 charities in the UK to come together, and it's not about merging or losing your independence or anything like that. But it's just like what can we be doing to get synergies and other things that we're doing where it's duplication,
Yeah.
and we can be learning from each other. And examples like charities who I think there's one charity there who operates the same type of aircraft, as a historic kind of a flight,
Hmm.
as another charity. They never talk to each other.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you both are operating the same type of aircraft and historic aircraft. You're in the UK. How come you've never met?
Yeah, and
So
it's the same with a lot of the outreach work, isn't it? A lot of the charities
yeah,
have a similar, or in fact, almost identical goal of promoting aerospace to the next generation. But we're all competing for the same pot of money to do the work. So there's a lot of overlap. And as Dave said, it's not about consolidation. It's about working to help each other's charities reach the most amount of people for the most amount of effect. So, and it's great to actually see organisations coming together. Like something I've been saying for a long time. I've been a member of various charities and steering groups and committees over the years, and it is frustrating when you see that another organisation is doing something similar to you, but you haven't spoken to you. So, it's a great initiative, and hopefully, it's the first of many.
yeah, definitely, and making sure that there's areas that don't get STEM outreach, get the STEM outreach, and there's
Yeah.
there's areas where maybe get, I don't know, too much STEM outreach.
Well, they get
But
overlap. I think there was an instance,
yeah,
wasn't there, where you know,
yeah,
I think the anecdote was one school had been reached by about three different companies,
yeah, yeah,
three different charities that had been funded by the same um, corporate organisation that had sponsored them. So, it's about joined up thinking, isn't it?
definitely, yeah. Right. So, news. What have we seen? What has caught our eyes in the news this past month? A lot going on as well. Shall I kick off?
Yeah, editor-in-chief's privilege. Gone. Off you go.
Go on. Well, yeah, I'm going to. So we've had some big civil aviation news from India in kind of a meltdown in India's largest airline, Indigo. They were cancelling flights in November. They were cancelling flights in December. Last minute cancellations, thousands of passengers stranded, and it's all to do with new crew rostering rules, which has somehow caught them unawares. They've not been able to kind of cope with. They're a fast growing airline. They've placed lots of orders, placed lots of Airbus orders. We've been tracking those over the time. They've sort of said that that there was severe weather as well. There was congestion at airports has also added to it. But is it a case of going too fast, too quickly?
Mm,
What's happened there is that this has escalated right up the, you think about obviously airline glitches, traffic meltdowns, ATM, stuff like that. Um, this has escalated all the way up to the top now, and now the government is getting involved and putting them under sort of special scrutiny. They've got to explain themselves, etc. So there's calls for the CEO to sort of step down, etc., etc. So yeah, I mean that's a they were going great guns,
mm,
but there is a pilot shortage in India anyway. It's not
yeah.
the flight training system, and it's not keeping up. Which funnily enough, we've got an article on in this issue. What about you, Steve?
Well, Kel Surprise, I have a general aviation story, and it's an exciting one for me. The Katana is back in production. So, Diamond Aircraft, listeners may know particularly the DA40, the Diamond Star, and the DA42, the Twin Star, and then later incarnations of that. Well, the company originally started with the motor glider, the Dimona, but its first two-seat training aircraft really was the Katana. I remember flying one of the first ones in the UK back in the 90s. It was a lovely little aeroplane, the DA20. And it went out of production about 10 years ago in Europe. So this is an Austrian company made at Wiener Neustadt. It's still been in production in Canada with the Continental engine for the American market. But Diamond has realized there is a need in Europe for a two-seat training aeroplane. And
Ah,
so they've put the Katana back into production. They've engined it with the latest Rotax 912, and they've given it a touchscreen glass cockpit. So it's something we've been saying for a long time. And there are still flying schools flogging around in Cessna 152s, which are 50-year-old aeroplanes. And uh, I once spoke to a chief exec from a general aviation manufacturing company who said, if you are in a position where you can learn to fly, you've probably done okay in life, and you've probably got a nice car. So you drive to the airport in your nice car, and you get in a clapped out old Cessna, which the air vents don't work, and it stinks of fuel, and the carpet's damp. Well, I appreciate these aircraft are expensive to operate, but I think there's now an increasing demand. The number of 152s is dwindling. So Diamond have realised there is a market for this now, particularly with a fuel efficient Rotax engine on the front. So the Continental one is still being produced in Canada, but Wiener Neustadt now they've reopened the production line for the DA20 with the Rotax on the front. So I think that's exciting news. And as you said about articles in the magazine, we've got one this month on the lack of flying instructors,
yeah.
and there are so many people coming into flying training now. And again, something we've said for a long time, flying instructors is generally seen as a stepping stone job. You get your commercial license, you go and be a flying instructor till you've got enough hours that the airlines will give you a job. Well, there is a job, there is a career instructor route, and it needs to be recognised. And as our author has said, it is a valid career path. It just needs to be recognised as such with career progression and salary to match.
Definitely, definitely, and it's the pool where everything else is taken from, isn't it? Once that pool starts drying up,
Yeah.
that's when you have the problems.
Well, weren't you talking to
I'm
somebody recently, Tim, who said there was a 10-year waiting list at one of the flying schools
Yeah.
to start to
So
learn to
this is
fly?
a UK small flying school, and they've got a 10-year waiting list for people wanting to do PPLs.
It's incredible. And we have a pilot shortage. We just said about India, we have a pilot
Yeah,
shortage in the UK as well.
yeah,
We
yeah,
need
yeah.
to get more people through that pipeline, don't we? So anyway,
So
what
what
else
else
has
do we?
caught your eye?
Well, talking about pilots or lack of pilots, we've got some UAV news. With Saab is set to fly the biggest 3D printed UAV. So sat in on a very interesting briefing with Saab's innovation hub, Rainforest, they call it, and a industrial software folk, Divergent, and they're creating the world's first software-defined aircraft fuselage. So this is for a prototype UAV, and it's looking very, very organic. If you look at the thing, it looks like it looks like the skeleton of a prehistoric fish,
Wow.
basically. But it's using AI optimization of the design. So we've
Hmm.
seen small parts before. You may have probably sort of seen them here, round and about, and very organic, very kind of organic, natural looking things that look like bones or parts of skeletons, stuff like this. This is scaling it up
Hmm.
significantly. Count reduction, 99%. Waste material reduced by 99%. And the thing about this is that the prototype is called Ruby. Saab are a little bit cagey about what it's for, but obviously UAV, military applications,
Hmm.
although there was it did have sort of civil schemes with it as well. But one of the key things there is production capacity of over 1,000 a year. So the idea is 3D printers, you could be churning these out en masse. And in fact, Divergent is working in the US with these sort of like, software defined mega factories, where the idea is it's going to be one factory, multiple products. So that is
Ooh.
really
Mm.
futuristic stuff where, you just have um, a factory somewhere, 3D printers, churning stuff out, and one minute they're making tanks, and the next week maybe they're doing UAVs, and then they're doing drones, and then they're doing missiles, what have you. It's all about this new industrial sort of ecosystem, and it's using AI to optimize the design. AI to optimize it and to create these shapes.
Well,
But also scale it up. How do you scale this stuff up and get it out
we've
to the
seen in
war front?
Ukraine, haven't we, the 3D printing of drones en masse, well, the
Yeah,
cottage industry almost.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's sort of small scale. This is getting bigger and bigger.
Mm.
So yeah. What about you? What else has caught your eye?
I've got a space story. Honestly, we've not got Bella now. Bella has disappeared back to her native Australia. So I'm going to pick up the mantle for a while as our space correspondent with a space story.
Ah,
And there's been a problem at Baikonur, in Kazakhstan, the Russian space industry's launch facility, where they launched a Soyuz rocket in November, and it badly damaged the pads. It's pad 31-6 at Baikonur. The rocket took off fine, but the blast has wrecked a service cabin underneath the pad, and it's caused damage to the facility. But the problem is, at the moment, it's the only active launch pad for the crewed Soyuz missions to the ISS. So they're suggesting it could take up until March to repair, but we know that the Russian space industry at the moment is cash strapped to say the least. So I think to have you know a potentially long lasting effect here on Russian missions to the ISS.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's whoever forgot to move because the cabin swings back out of the way under the kind of the launch pad, and
Yeah,
it's usually moved out of the way. Whoever forgot to do it, obviously getting a interview without coffee or biscuits.
yeah, somewhere in a gulag, I would imagine.
But it just sort of I mean it's hopefully it's not, if it's replaced in about March, there's not crude, Soyuz going up every single week. So I think they'd probably, unless it's delayed, I think they should be all right. But I think it's one of the things where a reminder of access to space and how kind of fragile it is. As to, we're launching out a limited number of locations. Yes, you've got, and one of the other things in this issue is there's no parking left at the ISS, is there, at the moment?
Yeah, yeah,
Every parking spot is so there's Crew Dragons up there, Cargo Dragons, Soyuz, Progress, Cygnus.
yeah.
There's a Japanese research supply. So you've got all these, got all these spacecraft, but you still need the launch facilities. Yeah.
What about you?
So,
What's your third pick of the month?
well, I've got another UCAV story,
Okay.
another UAV story, and that is about UCAV's doing missile shots.
Oh.
So we had a little bit of a kind of a race, a little bit of I suppose, of who could fire the first air-to-air missile
Mhm,
from a collaborative combat aircraft, unmanned drone. Turkey has got there first with Baykara.
mhm,
They launched one on 27th of November from the Kizlima. I've probably murdered that. UCAV, well, along with F-16 chase aircraft, and that was a radar-guided AAM in a first. It was carried on an external pilot, and it was they shot down a airborne target with it. So that was 27th of November. And then on 8th of December, we had a
mhm,
Boeing MQ-28 Ghostbat with RAF, with a Royal Australian Air Force E-7 Wedgetail and a Super Hornet providing the radar.
mhm.
And that launched AN-120
Yeah,
and down in Australia. So two drone, kind of weapon tests in quick succession. It's important to note that obviously we've been here before. Back in early 2000, I'm going to say 2003, 4 maybe. We had the Boeing, and I'm going to say X-45. I think that was it. UCAV, and that dropped. I think it dropped to JDAM
mm,
from the weapons bay. So weapon tests and UCAV, yeah, X-45. Weapon tests and UCAVs are not, um, not unknown,
mhm.
but I think now there's an acceleration,
Yeah,
and these are air-to-air weapons, which is
yeah.
different
This
than
is
what
more of a
we've seen.
collaborative combat aircraft
Yeah,
edge to it,
yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah, CCA.
Yeah, so that sort of technology now accelerating there in multiple parts of the world. Have you got
Mm.
one to finish off?
I have, and I'm going to stick on the UAV theme, but also just work in a bit of general aviation, if you don't mind. There's a surprise for you. There has been a U.S. Congress House Aviation Subcommittee hearing in the U.S. It was in early December, and it's into advanced air mobility. So we've talked a lot on the show this year about the low altitude economy, drone delivery, that kind of thing. And this is something that's looking to roll out across the US. And Reliable Robotics chief exec, who's Robert Rose, presented to Congress and was supported by members of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, because obviously for the low altitude economy to work, we need to integrate uncrewed vehicles with conventional aircraft and helicopters. So that means everybody has to be using ADS-B. So ADS-B in out,
Yeah,
which is which makes we can everybody shows up on radar. You get traffic confliction reports, things like that. The issue in the US is that a number of airports now are starting to use ADS-B to track aircraft in and out and actually use it as a charging facility in terms of financial charging. So, you know, pilots who have flown an instrument approach somewhere will suddenly get a bill in the post because they've been tracked on ADS-B. And the argument is here that ADS-B is a safety tool. It is not a money-making tool. So there's been a lot of discussion at Congress now about actually, if you want people to use ADSB, it's got to be used for the right reasons. And we know here in the UK, you pay a landing fee every time you land an aeroplane. In the US, it's, as a light aircraft pilot, it's generally not the case. A lot of airfields are municipally funded, and it is free to land at, touch and go,
Yeah.
do an instrument approach. But increasingly, charges are coming in, and increasingly ADSB is being used for that. And AOPA, the Aircraft Attendants and Pilots Association, has said that is not what ADSB is about.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Privacy, I suppose, as well. And
Yeah.
people been. I know. Obviously, there's been some pushback of business from the business aviation community of they don't like their VIP biz jets being tracked,
Mhm.
and also people making money out of it as well. There's people I've read stories about people, making bets on the on the stock market because they know they've seen someone's biz jet, visiting company
Mm.
X, and worked out, like a merger is coming or something's up, and put money into it as well as to, tracking biz jets via ADS. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So we're going to go and we're going to have a look now at what's in the January 2026 edition. What have we got? Well, it's another packed issue. We've got Space in 2026 from Richard Lowe from our space group. That's a fantastic look at what's coming up in this year. It's going to be a busy year. Lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. We've got the ergonomics of equality from departing Bella Richards, and a fascinating article. I'm not going to spoiler it,
It,
but it's something you've probably not really thought about in too much depth.
it's a brilliant article, I have to
Yeah.
say. We've had Bella with us now for a couple of years. I think this is the best thing she's done. It's a really, really eye-opening article.
Definitely. We've got instructors of profession. We've already covered that, but again, it's why isn't more attention paid to the career path of a professional flight instructor? We've got to look at the Quest X-59. So from Caleb Chapman, we've already sort of covered Boom. What with their private supersonic demonstrator. This is looking at the NASA one, the Lockheed Martin X-59. That's now flown, and NASA are now exploring low boom supersonic flight. They're going to be doing some tests. They're going to be flying over people's houses, I think, and sort of measuring it. We've got Hawk replacement. So as this is written. As this is recorded, even. Um, uh, we're waiting for the Defence Investment Plan, and one of the things that is probably expected to come out of that is maybe a announcement of a competition to replace the RAF's Hawk, both in T1 for the Red Arrows and for the T2 for advanced training, pilot training. So we've got to look at that. Look at some of the contenders. Simulating the future, we've got a report on the RAS Flight Simulation Conference. And we've got the usual news, events, society updates, nice photos from the medals and awards,
Yep.
and what's happening around the branches. Do send us your branch news and events to Deputy Stephen Bridgewater on Stephen with a PH Stephen Bridgewater at aerosociety.com. You know where to find us.
Yep.
And then we've got upcoming events. What do we got to look forward to, Steve?
We've got Singapore.
Yeah.
Very early this year. It's first weekend or first couple of days in February, isn't it? So I enjoyed Singapore 2 years ago. It's a really interesting show. You see a lot of stuff that you don't generally see at the Western
Yeah.
events. So we'll be out there, Tim and I. So if you've got news at Singapore, make sure you contact us beforehand under embargo if you want to, and we'll make sure we cover your event, cover your news and your product launches at the Singapore Air Show, and come and talk to you on your stand.
Yeah, and we've got also January means the lecture sort of like program kicks into high gear again. We've got lectures coming around the branches and at RAS HQ. So we've got stuff on aeroliths. We've got lectures on Winkle, flying German jets, Concorde, Saxe-Aboard Spaceport in Shetland, helicopter search and rescue. We've got a HQ lecture about laser and directed energy. That's happening on the 15th of January. The De Havilland Comet, Skyfly Axe, and we've also got a corporate partner briefing forecast for the aviation sector for 2026. That's happening on 27th of January. So just a reminder, keep an eye out on the online diary, rolling diary there as to what's happening near you. Lots of free lectures to go to or actually dial in. So just keep an eye out for that. And then we've got some big conferences coming up in 26, haven't we? We've got the Aerodynamics Conference. That's happening on 18th and 19th of February.
Yep.
We've got RAS Business Aviation Forum. That's 2nd of March, followed by the RAS Commercial Aviation Summit, 3rd of 4th of March. RAS Weapon
Part of our
Systems
Civil
and
Aviation Week, isn't it?
Weapon Systems and Capability Conference on the 11th of March. That should be really, really timely, given what we're given the geopolitical situation. And then we've got the RAS Future Air and Space Summit. That's on 20th to 21st of May, and that is the big defence summit. So again, that should be a really, really sort of standout event.
Mhm.
So, I think we're getting to the end of the time here. What have you been
Mhm.
watching, playing, reading?
Um, well, as we record this, we're just on the run up to Christmas. It's been a short month actually.
Yeah.
The way that publishing cycles work, we went to print slightly later with the last issue because it was the Dubai Air Show, and then we go to print with the January issue very early because of the Christmas holiday. So we've only had 2 weeks to fit things in. So I've not done a huge amount of reading, but I have done some listening to an audiobook. Which is one I touched on last month as a recommendation for Bella. I'm afraid it's not a very Christmassy theme. It's 6 Minutes to Winter, Nuclear War and How to Avoid It by Mark Limas. Absolutely both intriguing and terrifying at the same time. Starts with a scenario of a nuclear missile re-entering the atmosphere over a unnamed American city, and tracks then backwards as to how we got to that situation. It's uh, it's both historical, looks at the history of nuclear warfare, but also, the precipice that we are potentially on at the moment, and the dangerous situation that we're all in. So, not a very jolly read, but I think essential reading for anybody in our industry is to get a real grasp on the potential that this has.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had some sort of like quite hard hitting and chilling messages there from Chief of Defence Staff this week, and also Head of MI6 this here in the UK about kind of threats to the UK, and everyone needs to play their part. So yeah, I suppose that's but yeah, not very Christmassy read.
So, what about you, Tim? Have you been reading anything, or have you been on your flight sim? Or
Well, I haven't had time to get onto the flight sim, but I'm looking forward to spending some time with Microsoft Flight Sim. They've got a Boom XB1 add-on.
oh,
So the thing with Microsoft Flight Sim is obviously you've got all the paid DLC that you can get your mitts on. You can go there and buy add-ons, airports, aircraft, but sometimes they have a regular thing where they give out, they add free stuff. And one of the
mhm,
things is the Boom XB1. So
mm,
you can go there and you can see if you can do better than the test pilot. You can ring it out a bit. They've added it, they've adapted it slightly because there's no night lighting on it. It's just
ah,
VFR capable.
oh, okay,
Um, so,
yeah,
so they've actually modified it slightly. And the other thing there as well is so the other thing to have a play with is there's a Stranger Things add-on. So if
Right.
you are a Stranger Things fan, there is now, and you're a Flight Simulator fan, you'll be in heaven because they've added a Huey to the sim, which is again a free add-on, and you've got missions taking part in Hawkins, the fictional town of Hawkins, fighting the Debbie Gorgons from the Upside Down, flying around Hawkins. So the scenery is included as well as the helicopter. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a really bizarre thing, but it shows. I think it shows how much Microsoft Flight Sim has gone mainstream now. They've got
Right.
millions and millions of users. All these people getting interested in aviation and looking for new things new things to do with it, and sightseeing, croc spraying, airlines, air racing, flight testing supersonic aircraft, and fighting demons from the netherworld. So yeah, I'm
Well,
gonna play with that.
well, my
Right.
top tip to you there, Tim, is don't do it with your VR goggles on, because if you get all discombobulated and you fall off your chair, it will be quite literally boom, boom, shake the room, won't it?
Oh,
Should
on
I
that
introduce
note,
it for our podcast next year? Shall I introduce a joke? No, I won't. No, we won't do that, will we? That's a bad idea.
on, on that bombshell, um,
Happy New
where can
Year,
people
everybody.
keep up to? Where can people keep up to date with us with the RS and the Mag? Yeah, well, I'm
I'm
still on X. Yeah,
Yeah, you go. You go first, Tim.
RS. I'm still there on X. RS Tim R, and obviously Aero Society for the main website. You find Insight there. Steve.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn as Stephen with a PH, Stephen Bridgewater. I'm mostly at Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can, as Tim said, you can follow us on aerosociety.com for our twice weekly blogs, which we'll be carrying on over the Christmas period up until Christmas Day. And then we'll start again in the new year.
Yep. Views, questions, feedback, do send them our way. Do like us and subscribe us. All helps the algorithm. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube these days. And also, before we sign off, we'd just like to thank our sponsors again. So just to thank again our podcast sponsor for this episode, Xometry. Whether you're prototyping the next innovation in aerospace or scaling up for production, Xometry connects you with trusted manufacturers worldwide, saving you time and resources. Discover how Xometry can accelerate your projects by visiting www.xometry.uk. Okay, with that,
Right. With that,
it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me. Here goes to 2026.
Yeah, okay, all the best for 2026.